Okay. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining us on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. We're going to continue in our series of walking through the Bible, and we'll look at, obviously, the Strongs and read from the scriptures and things like that. But I also wanted to just kind of announce or let you guys know that there will be a Passover lesson on Monday evening, Passover lesson. Now I know there's going to be a lot of debate out there as to when's the Passover. I know some people have already celebrated a Passover, and how to account for it and things like that. Let me tell you what some people are looking at, right? Some people are going off different calendars, right? Of course, we can't go on our Gregorian calendar. We can't use that. But some people are going off their calendar. Some people are trying to track moon phases themselves. And some people are going off the new moon in Jerusalem, right? Some of it from just where you are, new moon from where you are. So there's going to be a day difference right there, right? Now I've seen some people where they're way off, like yeah, just one particular group, person celebrate Passover like a month ago. I don't even know how that even happened. I have no idea what that is. At any rate, so some people, when they start with the moon phases, it'll be like a new moon, no moon, or some people will go with the waxing crescent, right? And some people start counting like on a waning crescent. So it just really how you start, okay? But we want to start from new moon, right? We want to at least start from there. So anyway, at any rate, there's going to be a Passover lesson right here on the channel. At evening, Central Standard Time. At evening, we'll just do a Passover lesson Monday night to bring in the Passover. So I hope you guys can I hope you guys can join me for that lesson. Put in the notification bell, because it's going to be right when the day is ending. Well, the Passover will be beginning. Okay, so you got to look at sunset at that time, the time at sundown at that time. So guys, take a look at that, and we will reconvene here on the channel Monday evening, right? Monday evening. So a lot of the other organizations, they do kind of have it in common, like IOG and Israel Church of Jesus and Straightway and a number of other ones. Okay, all doing it on that evening. You look at some of the other groups, IUIC and GLCC and all that stuff is going to be a little bit different. So it just depends on what you guys think, right? Depends on what you subscribe yourself to. So shalom, one and all, everyone who's joining me on this program. Want to get through, right? Things that are really simple, really self-explanatory. We won't go over it over and over and over and over again, but we will break down a couple things. I mean, some things need a little bit of a exegesis, and one of the things I like to do is I like the Bible to explain itself. I like it to interpret itself. So I like to do it that way, and I'll suggest that we all practice that way. I suggest we all do it that way. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in the world because we are all in lockdown, isolation, quarantine, whichever word you prefer to use. So just keep that in mind, and we'll be talking about it. If you want to talk about more things like that, what's going on in the world and what to do next, just go to the Israelite Prepper channel on YouTube and go over there, and we'll talk about more of the things that are going on. This channel, I try to keep it mainly to lessons, right? Just having some Bible lessons and things like that. But if you want to get more conversation and commentary and a little more interaction and things like that, just look at the Israelite Prepper channel and talk about stuff like that. Speaking of which, where are all the faith healers? Speaking of pastors, I've been looking around, and many of them have all but disappeared. Just really quiet. A few of them pop their head out a little bit, and that's because the tithe is a huge income source for these people, tax free, and they're gonna lose this virus has completely destroyed that, right? So they pop their head out. But see, here's the thing: people would be okay with giving tithes and stuff like that if these pastors and preachers had not lied to them to begin with, if they had not been just telling them a bunch of feel-good stories to begin with. This is what we have to understand. And a lot of people, uh, let me put it this way. They should have been preparing you the entire time, telling you, come out of her, my people, telling you the calamities, that which is, I get so frustrated sometimes when I look at the fact that people give certain pastors, their time and their attention and their trust, right? And then it's trampled on. It's trampled on. You don't tell them the truth. You don't tell them what thus says the Lord. That's what irritates me with some of the modern day Sunday pastors. That's what irritates me, because they don't simply just tell them the truth, regardless of how someone feels. Now, there's a difference between anonymous Hebrew. How's it going? Shalom, 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 shalom. That when you give someone your time and your attention and they just waste your time, they just squander your trust, right? It's fine if someone's mistaken on something. That's fine. But outright deception is a completely different matter. That's the part that really gets me. That's the part that really upsets me. Why haven't they been telling you what to look for, telling you what the signs are, telling you what to expect, what's coming next? In fact, I'll talk about that a little bit in a couple hours on the other channel, Israelite Prepper. I'm going to go over there. I want you guys to join me, if you will, and I'll do that around 11 or noon Central, right? I'll do that around 11 or noon Central. We'll talk about that, things to come, what's next, what to look out for about that. But that's the thing. That should be, I think that's a scathing indictment against pastors today, that will not prepare the people. That is your job. When you are teaching the Bible, it is to give them knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's also to prepare them, to warn them, to sound the alarm. And many of these so-called leaders, Reverend Dr. Bishop, Pastor, Priest, is not doing it. They're not doing it. And they're not doing it themselves. They're not preparing you, and they're not showing it themselves. Okay, any of you guys been watching, the channel for a while, you guys know I'm in the studio. I got the backdrop, Fountain of Israel, and all that other stuff. I got my reader, and I got all this other stuff. And the people who would follow me, I tell them, hey, come out of here, my people. Just do, get out, prepare, get away from these high population centers and things like that. That's what I've been doing. You look at me, I'm in a small, I've downsized. As you can see what's going on here, I've downsized, and I'm still preaching, teaching, and still trying to prepare others. For those, I'm talking to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Those are the only people that I'm talking to. You get so many people, you get all these teachers out there just wasting people's time because they don't want to tell them the truth, don't want to tell them what's actually going on, because they're going to sound crazy or sound like a madman or something like that. Okay? So, guys, you're giving them your time, your attention. Make sure. Shalom, shalom, Evan Davis and Brother James. Shalom, shalom. Appreciate you guys joining. So, let's go ahead and we're going to jump in here and everything. Let's keep it, live. You guys have any questions or anything, please put them in the chat. Put the questions in the chat. I'll get to it. We're going to read a little bit. We're going to keep this thing going, keeping it lively. But join me on Israelite Prepper channel at about noon, roughly. And we're only going to do an hour. I don't want to keep you guys too long. But we're going to jump in. If you have any insights or anything, share it with each other. And let's jump right into it. I think we left off on 29. We're going to start over here in Bereshit, or Genesis 30. We're going to start at Genesis 30. And I'm going to read from the scriptures. And it says, and when Rachel, or Rahel, saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rahel envied her sister and said to Jacob, give me children, or else I am going to die. And Jacob's displeasure burned against Rahel, and he said, am I in the place of Elohim, who has withheld from you the fruit of your womb? And she said, see, my female servant Bilhah, go into her and let her bear for me, and let me be built up from her as well. So she gave him Bilhah her female servant as a wife, and Jacob went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Rachel said, Elohim has rightly ruled my case, and has also heard my voice and given me a son. Now Rachel said that, so she called his name Dan. And Rachel's female servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have overcome. So she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had ceased bearing, and took Zilpah, her female servant, and gave her to Jacob as wife. And Leah's female servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. And Leah said, fortune comes. So she called his name Gad. And Leah's female servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. And Leah said, I am happy, for the daughters shall call me happy. So she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat and harvest, and found love apples in the field, and brought them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to Leah, please give me some of your son's love apples. But she said to her, it is a small matter that you have taken away my husband. Would you take away my son's love apples too? And Rachel said, therefore, let me lie with you tonight for your son's love apples. And when Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, do not come in to me, for indeed I have hired you with my son's love apples. And he laid with her that night. And Elohim listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, Elohim has given me my hire, because I have given my female servant to my husband. So she called his name Yishakar. And Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, Elohim has presented me with a good present. Now my husband is going to dwell with me, because I have bore him six sons. So she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bore a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And Elohim remembered Rachel, and Elohim listened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son, and said, Elohim has taken away my reproach. So she called his name Yosef, and said, Yahweh had added to me another son. And it came to be, when Rachel had bore Yosef, that Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way to go to my place and to my land. Give my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you yourself know my service which I have done for you. And Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay, for I have diligently watched that Yahweh has blessed me for your sake. And he said, name me your wages, and I'll give it. And he said to him, you know how I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me. For the little you had before I came has increased greatly, and Yahweh has blessed you since my coming. But now, when I am to provide for my own house too. Okay. And he said, what do I give you? And Jacob said, give me not. If you do this for me, I shall again feed and guard your flocks. Let me pass through all your flocks today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the black ones among the lambs, and the spotted and the speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. And my righteousness shall answer for me in the time to come. When you come concerning my wages, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and black among the lambs, it is stolen if it is with me. And Laman said, see, let it be according to your word. And on that day he set aside the male goats, and were speckled and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the black ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hands of his sons. And he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob. And Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar, and of the almond and the chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flock in the gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink. And they conceived when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob separated the lambs, and made the flocks face forward toward the streak, and all the black in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flock by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to be whenever the strong ones of the flock conceived, that Yaakov placed the rods before the eyes of the flock in the gutters, so they would conceive among the rods. And when the flocks were weak, he did not put them in, so the weak ones were Laban's, and the strong ones Jacob's. Thus the man increased very much and had many flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys. And so that's how a person's house was established, how his wealth, one of the things I wanted to look at is how his wealth is established, okay? His flocks, his herds, his manservants, maidservants, things like that. That's how a man's wealth was determined at that time, okay? And you have a lot of wealthy today, it's very, very similar, okay? I mean, but they have other material things, okay? It's not things, probably not, well, certainly not as useful as chicken, goats, things like that. Now, those who are Hebrew Israelite, your wealth is defined that way. Imagine this. You have all this land and you have a lot of steer, cows, goats, chickens, things like that. You have herds and flocks, right? And then you have people of your household, be manservants, maidservants, things like that, you know, handmaids and things, and all these things. How wealthy are you right now during this particular pandemic? Now, imagine that. Now, that is wealth. That is true biblical wealth, right? Then, of course, you can have shekels of silver and gold and things like that, which we can use to buy and barter and things, and so on and so forth. So, you know, this is how it goes. So okie doke, this uncle just like okay, about the marriage. Okay, so we're gonna look at that. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Mr. B. How's it going? Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Appreciate you guys joining me on that. Definitely like, share, subscribe. Let some people know we're walking through the Bible a little bit. I'm gonna go through real quick in the KJV. Just point out a couple of things. There's a few observations that I had, right? So I'm just gonna go through and point out some of these observations a little bit, right? So we're gonna look at it. One, we're gonna deal with this whole the relationship and the dynamic between, you know, Rachel, Leah, and Yaakov, right? And then look at a couple things that was interesting. Let's look at it. It said, and when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children or else I die. Okay. So Rachel's getting frustrated. She's like, okay, I want to get pregnant. I want to get pregnant, right? She's getting really, really frustrated. And of course, Jacob's going to get back frustrated. He's like, look, man, you know, I'm doing my part. You know, I'm not God. You know, that kind of thing. And she envied, you know, she was just jealous of her sister because Leah was a fertile turtle. You know, she was fertile. She was having dropping babies left and right, right? So it was no big deal on that. I mean, it was no big deal for Leah. She was just dropping babies left and right. So Rachel felt some type of way. Now, it wasn't because, now a lot of people, they love to point out because of it's a polygynous relationship. That's not why. It's because you wanted to bear in those days. You wanted to bear children. Okay, you wanted to establish a legacy. You wanted to build up a household. Okay, you wanted to do those things, and she wasn't able to do that. Right now, too. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in God's stead, who has withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb?" So he said, I'm not God, okay? I can't help that. And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. Okay, so she's saying through her. Now that's another different dynamic. Okay, you can't do. Women are selfish today. Okay, they're gonna be selfish, insecure. They're not gonna do anything like this. But you have to go to a Hebrew mindset, okay? American mindset is not going to get this, okay? Hebrew mindset. So because she was a handmaid of Rachel, she's saying, okay, any kids that come through my handmaid, you marry her and make her a wife and all that, but any kids that come through her, because she was my handmaid, that's going to be considered my child as well, okay? It's going to be, and I'm redeemed, okay? My reproach will be lifted at this point, right? As she said, that I may also have children by her. Okay, that was the mindset that they had. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God has judged me and has also heard my voice and has given me a son. Look at that. Rachel said that. But her handmaid just had this son. Her handmaid just had this child, but she still considers it her child. Now, am I making that up, or did I just read that from the scripture? You see what I'm saying? So, and Rachel bare him a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. So she even named the child. Okay, she even named the child, even though it came from her handmaid, who Jacob just married because he laid with her, and that was it. Um, even though she gave the handmaid over there, she had the child. That child is just like that child is mine. Okay, and like when she helped in the birth of the child, she's part of the birthing process. That's why you know she bare upon my knees, right? So she's gonna help her handmaid deliver the child, right? So and Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. Talking about Leah, right? And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had left bearing, like she stopped having more babies. And she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, a troop cometh. And she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. So just having babies left and right. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will come, well, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. Okay, so they having babies and she's happy. Now think about this. Think about this for a second. It's convenient. First of all, I'm talking about the whole marriage dynamic. Okay, it's not about polygyny exclusively. I'm just trying to get you to a Hebrew mindset. Okay, that's all. I'm just trying to get you to another mindset. You got to get out of the American mindset for any of this to make sense. It's not going to if you don't get into their mindset. Okay, everybody loves to talk about the anger and the jealousy of the polygamous relationship and that Rachel and Leah are going back and forth with each other. But they don't mention anything about Rachel or Leah giving their handmaids and not being mad, not being upset. She having their handmaids having a child for their husband, and they're like, "Oh, I'm happy. Happy am I. Oh, all right. Woo, we having babies. Oh, look at that. Oh, I gave my husband, I gave my master a child." No one says anything. They look at the dynamic between Rachel and Leah. That's all they like to do. They don't do. Oh, what? Oh, they mad at each other. But the handmaids are females too, and the handmaids they slept with the husband. But nobody wants to talk about that. I'm just pointing out some observations there. Okay, few observations. Am I making it up or did we just read it? Okay. So she said in 13, and Leah said, happy and I, for the daughters will call me blessed. So they call them blessed, not bitter and mad. And her handmaid just had that baby. Okay, got it. 14, and Reuben went into the days of wheat and harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes, or what they said, the apples, the what apples? 14. Love apples. Okay, they call them love apples, right? So they call them love apples, but we look at mandrakes. Let's see, what is that? 1736 Dudadi. Okay, mandrakes, love apples. Okay. Okay, so that's what mandrakes mean. Mandrake translate to love apples. Okay, so and Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to him and said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. So the thing is, he said, okay, for instance, if they shared nights or whatever, Tuesday's one wife night, Wednesday's another wife night, and all that, it was kind of an off night, meaning, so Leah said, hey, wait, you're not going to go over there. You're going to come to my tent because me and Rachel had a deal for some love apples. Okay. I got some love apples, gave Rachel, so she's foregoing her night with you tonight. So Jacob said, all right, then, whatever. He ain't arguing with him because, hey, them not bickering, fighting and all. Okay, cool. Y'all got a deal? All right, good. I'll go to yours. All right, so he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God has given me my hire because I have given my maiden to my husband, and she called his name Issachar. Now, again, she's saying, hey, the Lord has heard my hire. She heard my plea, heard my deal. Okay, he heard about my deal, and he gave me another, because I gave my handmaid to my husband. I know that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, this whole polygynous relationship going on right there, but just because you don't say it out loud, it doesn't mean that it's not sitting there in the Bible. Okay, I know it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but too bad. That's it. I'm reading what it says. Okay, and I hadn't made up anything yet. Hadn't made up anything. right? I'm just reading it. I'm making an observation. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing right here, okay? But I know it's going to make some people uncomfortable, but you're just going to have to put on your big boy and big girl panties, and you got to deal with what the scripture actually says, okay? That's just how it goes, all right? So we're going to continue. All right, so she called him Issachar. She was happy that she did this, okay? And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God has endued me with a good dowry, okay? Endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. She said, I did a good thing. I gave my husband all these sons. Oh, he gonna love me. You gonna love me. Let's see here. And afterwards she bare a daughter and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb. He remembered Rachel. Now, okay, he treated Leah good. The Lord blessed Leah, and he's blessing Rachel, and he blesses the handmaids. Okay, so if there was something evil and nefarious and unseemly or anything like that, God wouldn't be blessing them like that. He wouldn't be blessing them like that. And if it was so bad, can't one woman in this day and age, including back then, but in this day and age, can one woman have 12 children, right? Start with a young woman, 20 years old, right? Can she not have 12 children? Can she have 12 children? Of course she can. Of course it's possible for a woman to have 12 children. Yeah, of course it's possible. And with God, everything's possible, right? So why did the Most High choose to bring the nation by 4 women? Another, just a simple observation, just an observation, okay? And a daughter, 12 men and a daughter, right? So we're gonna keep going. So God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her. He listened to her and opened up her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. Let's look at reproach. Reproach is 2781. Sharpa or karpa, right? Karpa, reproach, scorn, taunt, scorn, disgrace, shame. Okay? So he took away his reproach, and she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass when Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go unto my own place and to my country. Okay, so he's still there. His family is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's still on Laban's property, right? But his family is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and he said, look, I need, you got to release me, man. I got to go. I got to go and provide for myself. I got to get my own land and go into my own country. And give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee. So I've served you for that, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. So you know what I did for you. You know I took care of you. I took care of your flocks. I took care of everything. Okay, I fulfill my end of the bargain. Is basically what he's saying. You know how you know my work. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry or wait, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me by thy sakes. He said, Laban said, look, just the fact that you being here, I know that I've been blessed because he's with you. And you have blessed me here. I know the Lord has been blessing me because you're here. So would you just stay, basically? Why don't you just wait a little longer? Laban wasn't trying to give up Jacob at all. All right. And then he 28. And he said, appoint me thy wages and I will give it. Okay. So name your price. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee and how thy cattle was with me. I took care of your cattle, right? For it was little which thou hast before I came, and it is now increased into a multitude, and the Lord has blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for my own household also? It's like, you know what? I know the Lord bless you. Okay. Shalom, shalom, Julio Gonzalez. He said, look, I know the Lord has, has blessed you and everything because I've been here. Okay. And you had a little bit of flock. You had a few of this, few of that, a few cows, few sheep, stuff like that. But now it has magnified since I've been here, and I've been taking care of them. Okay, I've been helping doing that. He said, but I got to provide for my own house. When I'm going to have my own? That's really what he's asking. When am I going to have my own? I got to provide for my own house. So he asked that question. And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything if thou will do this thing for me. I will again feed and keep thy flock. He said, you don't have to give me anything, but here's what we can do. All right. Here's what we are. Here's what we can do. Okay. Okay. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And all such shall be my hire. I'm gonna take all the speckled and spotted, okay? You know, the one that had, I guess you'd say with blemish or whatever, right? I'm gonna take all those. I'm gonna walk through and I'm gonna take those, right? And he said, and that's what you will pay me. He said, so shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come. So if I continue to do well, I'll be all right. It'll increase, everything will get better if I walk in my righteousness, right? If I walk out in righteousness. And when it shall come for my hire before thy face, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. Okay, so this is how it is. It's okay, I'm only going to get the spotted and the speckled ones, right? But if you come and check me out later and you see some that's not spotted and speckled, that means you can consider that I stole it. Okay, you consider it stolen from you by me if you want to do that. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to our word. He said, okay, all right, I'll do it. Okay, what you said, we'll go with what you said. And he removed that day the he goats that were ring straight and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hands of his sons. Okay, so let's see, ring staked. Okay, ring straight, I should say, is 6124. Ring straight, a code. All right, street or striped. Okay, that's what it means. 36. And he said 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And okay, let's look at the rods real quick. And the rods, makkel, rod, staff, stick, staff, a wand. Okay. And spotted 40. And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flock toward the ring strakes, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. So he separated all of it, right? And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob. And that's it. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants and men servants, and camels and asses. So hey, he just told, hey, it does seem like he put the the old okie doke or whatever. But then again, hey, he can't control what's going to be stronger and stronger or feeble or whatever. This is the deal that they struck, and that was it. But let's just say he pulled the okie doke. It was done to him first. Reaping and so on. So Laban reaped what he sowed so many years earlier, right? So that's really the bottom line, guys. That's really the bottom line on that. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look at the chat and see what you guys are up to. 1 second. Okay, let's see what you guys have here. Okay. All right. Yosef Ben Israel, Shabbat Shalom. Anonymous Hebrew, Shabbat Shalom. Evan Davis, Shabbat Shalom, bro. Shabbat Shalom. Exton, Daniel Exton, Shabbat Shalom. Keith Keith, Shalom Shalom. Lucky Ogumezi, okay? Lucky Ogumezi, Shabbat Shalom. Like Brother Evan was saying, he said, so Jacob okey-doked his uncle, just like Laban okey-doked him with the Mary. Yeah, probably. Maybe, if that's the case. But hey, we reap what we sow, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we have. Let me just put this a little closer so I can look forward, so I'm not looking to the side the whole time. All right, so, and he said, oh, Mr. B, morning, good morning, and shalom, shalom. He said, I wonder why drafting surrogates was the go-to answer back in those days. And furthermore, why couldn't Rachel ask Yah to open her womb? She probably did earlier, but she felt like when it first started, because she was frustrated that she couldn't get pregnant, right? And of course, she going to her husband is like, "Hey, man, you know, I want a baby. Get me pregnant." And of course, Jacob's like, "Man, I'm not God. I'm not God. I'm doing my part, and that's it. So it is what it is." Um, I wonder why Drafton said, okay. Julio Gonzalez, shalom, shalom. All right, so that's what we got for now. Let's get back to the scriptures. Now we're going to read 31. All right, so I'm going to read 31 real quick, and let's see what we got. All right, guys, let's go. Let's see what we got in verse 31 in Bereshit 31, verse 1. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what belonged to our father he has made all his wealth. So they feel like he's getting taken advantage of. Anyway, and Jacob would look at the face of Laban and see that it was not toward him as before. And Yahweh said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I am with you. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock, and said to them, I see your father's face, that is not towards me as before, but the Elohim of my father has been with me. And you know that I have served your father with all my strength. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. The Elohim did not allow him to do evil to me. When he said this, the speckled are your wages. Then all the flocks bore speckles. And when he said this, the streaks are your wages. Then all the flocks bore streaks. So the Most High was giving Jacob his wealth, right? So whatever the deal was, I mean, Jacob could have said the ones that are not spotted or the ones that were not speckled. Okay, he could have said either one, and the Most High was going to bless him for that. But that's the way Laban and his sons are getting all upset and everything because he got blessed. It's like, oh, Jacob, he knew if he took all the speckled and the spotted ones, and he knew if he took all those, then he was going to get wealth and stuff like that. You know what? I told you, I get in, I get passionate about it, and I stop reading and I get in there. So let's just read it straight through. We'll deal with it in a moment when we get to the Strongs, right? So let's take a look at it real quick, okay? He did that, went back to the flock, Elohim. Let me find my place, guys. He said, verse 7, and yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but Elohim did not allow him to do evil. When he said, the speckles are your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. And when he had said this, the streaked are your wages, then all the flocks bore streaks. So Elohim has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it came to be at the time when the flocks conceived that I lifted my eyes and looked in a dream and saw the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and mottled. And the messenger of Elohim spake to me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, here am I. Here I am. And he said, lift your eyes now and see all the rams which leaped on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you, because Laban was the one being the deceiver. Okay? I am the El of Bayeth El, where you anointed the standing column and where you made a vow to me. Now rise up, get out of this land, and return to the land of your relatives. And Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, do we still have any portion of inheritance in our father's house? Are we not reckoned by him as strangers? For he has sold us and also entirely consumed our silver. For all the wealth which Elohim has taken from our father is yours and our children's. Now then, do whatever Elohim has told you. Now listen to how this is how both his wives, that's how they responded. So Jacob rose and put his sons and his wives on camels, and he drove off all his livestock and all his possessions which he had acquired, his property of the livestock which he had acquired in Padanaram, to go to his father Yisach in the land of Canaan. And when Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole the house idols that were her father's, and Jacob deceived Laban, the Aramean, because he did not inform him that he was about to flee. He just didn't say anything. And he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. And on the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Then he took his brothers with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey. And he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But in a dream by night, Elohim came to Laban the Aramean and said to him, Guard yourself that ye do not speak to Jacob either good or evil. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brothers pitched in the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done, that you have deceived me and driven my daughters off like captives taken with a sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me, and not inform me? I would have sent you away with joy and songs, with tambourines and lyre. And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have been foolish to do this. Wow. It is the power of my hand to do evil to you, but the Elohim of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Guard yourself that you do not speak to Jacob neither good or evil. And now you have gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my mighty ones? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, lest ye tear your daughters away from me. Right? So you're trying to take, anyway, I got to just read through. With whomever you find your mighty ones, do not let them live. In the presence of our brothers, see for yourself that is with me, and take it with you. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Talking about those idols. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tents of the two female servants, but he did not find them. And he came out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the house idols and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my master that I am unable to rise before you, for the way of women is with me. And he searched, but did not find the house idols. And Jacob was wroth and contended with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my transgression? What is my sin, that you have hotly pursued me? Now that you have searched all my goods, what have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before my brothers and your brothers, and let them decide between the two of us. These 20 years have I been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your sheep. That which was torn by beasts I did not bring to you. I myself bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was, by day in heat consumed. Heat consumed me, and a frost by night, and my sheep fled from my eyes. These 20 years have I been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Yishak had been with me, you would have sent me away empty-handed. Elohim has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rendered judgment last night. And Laban answered and said to Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock, and all that you see is mine. But what shall I do today to these, my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne? And now come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and it shall be a witness between you and me. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a standing column. And Jacob said to his brothers, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. And Laban called it Yaga Sahaduta, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me today. That is why its name shall be called Gilead. Also, Mizpah, because he said, Let Yahweh watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see, Elohim is witness between you and me. And Laban said to Jacob, See this heap, and see this standing column, which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this standing column is a witness, that I do not pass beyond this heap to you, and you do not pass beyond this heap and this standing column to me for evil. The Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Nahor, and the Elohim of their father rightly rule between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Yishak. And Jacob's slaughtering on the mountain, and called this brothers to eat bread, and called his brothers to eat bread. And they ate bread and spent the night on the mountain. And Laban rose up early in the morning and kissed his sons and daughters and blessed them. And Laban left and returned to his place. So Jacob was pretty, yeah, he got pretty upset, right? So that's 31. He got pretty upset. I was gonna jump in and out, and I did a couple of times. I tried not to do it. I tried to just read straight through, but well, yeah, reaping and sowing is real, brother Davis. Absolutely, it's really all about that, right? So we just pluck out a few things, guys. So we can do. We're gonna do 32 as well. We're gonna read 32. Let's go ahead and look at 31 a little bit. We're not gonna read every single thing, but we're gonna go through it, and then we're gonna do 32 real quick, right? So let's just pluck out a few things. I think you guys pretty much got it. And he said in verse 2, he said, and Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as was before, right? So he said, he used to talk kindly to me, used to be nice, but now he has an attitude. It's a whole completely attitude switch, okay? So he basically, that's what we're doing now, just bad attitude, right? And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of your fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. So he said, it's time for you to leave, right? Now let's see what, he went to Rachel and Leah and see how they behaved. And he said, and Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that is not towards me as before, but the God of my father has been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father, okay? And your father had deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. So he said, he's not going to hurt me, but he did try to do me dirty for a while. He did all that. He did that. He did me dirty for a while, and it's not cool, guys. It's not cool. So he said in 8, and if he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckles. And if he said thus, the ring drake shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring drakes. He said it didn't matter. That's what I was saying to you guys before. It didn't matter which set of cattle and livestock that Jacob was going to choose. The Most High was going to bless him regardless. So it did not matter. Okay. So Jacob did not deceive this man. Okay. He did not deceive this man, even though turnabout is fair play and all that, but he didn't deceive him. Okay. Let me just go on record and be fit. He did not deceive him in this case. Okay. He said, so let's make a deal. What are we gonna do? And he said, okay, spotted, speckled, I'll take those, and you take the other ones. And he agreed to it. It's just an agreement. It's not a trick. It's an agreement. Okay. He said, thus God has taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. So when Laban had his cattle, the ones who were not speckled and spotted, had his cattle, they stopped increasing. Okay, but it was gonna happen either way. It didn't matter. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-draked and speckled and gristled. And the angel of the Lord spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, here am I. And he said, lift up now thy eyes and see all the rams that leaped upon the cattle, and ring-draked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. So he said, I see what he's doing. I know he's, being dishonest with you, taking advantage of you. I see that. That's what he's saying. I see that. I see he's taking advantage of you. So that's what the Most High is telling Jacob. So it's not, it's not, no. He didn't do anything wrong. Okay. He said, I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise it and get thee out from his land and return unto the land of the kindred. Okay. Anointed. Eretz. Okay. So some of the okay. So nice talking about a country, territory, like a land, earth, a whole earth, country, district, region, territory, tribal territory, piece of ground, inhabitants. Okay, so it's it has all that. Okay. Okay. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? And we got nothing left. We have no inheritance for them. And are we not counted of him as strangers? Because we're married now. We're married now. We belong to you. For he has sold us. We belong to you, and has quite devoured also our money. He got nothing else left for us. Okay. For all the riches which God has taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God has said unto thee, do. Hey, you do what you gotta do. Where you're going, we're going. Then Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten in the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Padanaram, to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's, the idols, okay, not the mighty ones, the idols, guys, the idols. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, and that he told him not that he fled. So he left, didn't tell him he was leaving. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told to Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. And he said, so he was told 3 days later. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in Mount Gilead. So they caught up with him, basically. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountain, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountain of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carry away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Why are you sneaking away and just gonna take my daughters? Guess what, guys? Once your daughters get married, that's it. They belong to the husband, not to you anymore. Okay? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth and with song and with tabrets and with the harp? So we would celebrate it and stuff. No, you wouldn't have. Laban be double talking, man. And has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. You do this, man. That was crazy, man. You did wrong. He didn't. But that's how Laban feel. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of my father spake unto me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good nor bad. It wasn't because Laban's this big bag dude or whatever. Remember, he took a bunch of his men with him too, right? A lot of people in his men. So you're talking about Laban and any number of his manservants, grown men with them to go chase after Jacob. But who does Jacob have? Jacob has himself, 4 wives, and a bunch of young sons. Okay, little 1-year-old, 2 and 5, 6, 8, 10-year-old sons, right? Stuff like that, because he was with, and probably wasn't even that long. Probably wasn't that long, because he served him. Matter of fact, you're talking about little bitty boys, right? You're actually talking about little bitty boys, because remember, he served for Rachel and Leah for 14 years, right? He served for them for 14 years. And he said he's been with Laban for 20 years. Okay? So that's really 6 years, we don't know exactly when Leah started having babies and stuff, but we know that first 7 years, if they were having babies, they were coming from Leah, right? So not that much. 7, 6, so the oldest boy had to be about 11 years old at this time. Okay, 11, 12, 13 at best. That's if, they start having babies like that. So these are young boys. So yeah, he said, it is in my power to do you some hurt because he's outnumbered. Okay, so we're going to skip down a little bit. Okay, talking about he was afraid, this and that. Laban went into Jacob, did the tent, okay, in 33. All right, then of course he said Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the 2 maidservants' tent, but he found them not, talking about the idols, okay. Then went out Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images, or the idols, and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but he found them not. And she said unto her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. So I'm on my cycle right now, is what she's saying. And he searched but found not the images, because they didn't deal with, even before the law. Remember, even before the law, they just kind of stayed away from women when they were on that cycle. Okay, you see an example of this already. Even before the law, they just kind of like, okay, we're going to stay away or whatever, because she's considered unclean at this time. And Laban was wroth and chode with Laban, and Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast so hotly pursued after me, that you come running up on me like this? What's the deal? What did I do? What did I do? What's my crime? What's my sin? Okay, that's what he's saying. Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, that has thou found any, of all the household stuff, set it before me, my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge between us both. Okay, so okay, if you found something that I stole from you, set it out here in front of everybody and let them judge between me and you. That's why he's upset. He's pretty upset. You chasing after me, come running down the street, running up on me like you crazy or something. Basically is what's being said. This 20 years have I been with thee. The ewe lambs and thy she goats have not cast their young, and the rams of the flock have I not eaten. I'm sorry, I'm in indigestion here. Have not eaten. 39. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, thou stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sheep departed from thy eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in your house, and I served thee 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. See, you would have gave me nothing. Okay, I served you for 20 years, and I would have had to walk out of here for nothing. And and I come with a deal. This is what I want to do, and you coming after me like this. You want to go every deal we strike. You want to go back on it. You want to change the terms when it doesn't look favorable for you. Just because I take whatever deal may come. It turns around and I end up being blessed by it, but you want to blame me like I'm doing something wrong to you. And now you're running up on me like I did something wrong. I'm taking my wife, I'm taking my kids, and I'm taking the flock that we had a deal. That's what I'm taking. So what have I taken from you? Of course, he didn't know Rachel stole something out of her father's house, but that's not on him. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters. Yeah, they're your daughters. And these children are my children. Not so fast. And these cattle are my cattle. No, they're not. And all that thou seest is mine. Not true. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which have they borne? Now, therefore, come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. See, right there, I'd be done making deals. I mean, I know he made a deal, and they said, okay, you're not gonna go past this point. I'm not gonna go past that point. I get it, but that I'm not making no more deals with Laban. Okay, I'm done with deal. You a bad deal maker, Laban. You bad deal maker. Okay, I can take the most horrible part of the deal, and you want to turn around just because it works out for me. You want to turn around and try to redo the terms of the deal. You want to restructure the terms of the agreement. Man, I'd be done. Okay, so you guys get the gist of that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and read. No, actually, we just did 30 and 31. We did 2. Wow, I was really going. So let me look and see what you guys are talking about, because I did want to just go an hour. We'll do 32 next time. Okay, we'll do 32. I can't believe we only did 2. I guess it just, you just never know. So let's see what you guys got written here. Shalom, Lisi. How's it going? Let's see. Evan Davis, he said, so Laban owned daughter, okie doke him. Wow. Reap what you sow. Absolutely. But Balaam was mooching off Jacob's favor from Yah. He got his reward from getting that free labor. Absolutely. I'm glad you see that. Absolutely. And he said, man, I've been blessed just because you've been here. Now, actually, it was Jacob was being blessed. We all know that, right? Jacob was being blessed the whole time. It's just that it was rubbing off, okay, on Laban, meaning some of that favor was rubbing, that Laban, like Brother Davis was saying, was getting some of that benefit. That's really all that was, okay? Laban was getting some of that benefit. But yeah, people want to sit up there and say that, Jacob is shady. I think Laban's shady. That's what I'm thinking. You want to change every freaking deal we make. You want to change the terms all the time. No. And Laban had the same mindset as Pharaoh. Absolutely had the same mindset as Pharaoh. That's just ridiculous, guys. So anyway, noon. Okay, join me at noon. I just had some thoughts that I wanted to go over. I wanted to look at a few things. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it here because I wanted to keep you guys like an hour. You know why? Because I want you guys to get back to your family. I want you guys to study. And I want you guys to pray to the Most High. This is his Sabbath day of rest. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm going to say now. We're going to do a Passover lesson Monday evening. We'll do a Passover lesson at sundown. I'm in the central time zone right now, so we're gonna do a Passover Monday evening, so we can bring in the Passover. Right, we're gonna see what the Bible says about Passover. So let's go ahead and do that. Noon Eastern time. I'm in Central time. I'm on Central time. Okay, so it'll be today for the Israelite Prepper. Okay, go to Israelite Prepper. It's going to be noon central, right? Noon central. I'll go ahead and start that. Just kind of give you guys some thoughts on, what to do. I mean, my thoughts on what's going to happen going forward, right? From this whole situation. Just some of my thoughts I want to get out there. People have been asking me individually, so I'm going to address it in a video and just give you some of my thoughts on that. And I'd like to hear some of you guys' thoughts, okay? So let's do that. So again, please like, share, subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell on this channel as well as the other. Okay, because I don't want you guys to miss any updates or anything like that. Again, we'll have a Passover lesson Monday night. Okay, share with other people. Hit the thumbs up if you would. That really helps with the YouTube algorithms and stuff. Let's get this word out. Let's get together. Let's form alliances. Let's become true mishpachah. And I'm going to see you guys on the next lesson, which is Monday, right here on the Fountain of Israel channel. Monday evening, sun start going down, we will start having that lesson. Also, go to Israelite Prepper today at noon central, and I'll give you some thoughts on what's going to happen next. Shalom, shalom, family.